In this lesson, we're going to be taking a look at how to use a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram is a way to show information. And in this case, we're going to be wanting to show information on which numbers are divisible by 5 and divisible by 8. Now, there's a couple things to remember with a Venn diagram. With a Venn diagram, we will show on each side, different parts of the information. So this side, in other words, will represent divisible by 5. And over here, this side will represent divisible by 8. So on the bottom, you'll see a list of numbers. Any numbers that are divisible by 5 will go in the left-hand circle. Any numbers that are divisible by 8 will go in the right-hand circle. And what happens if they're divisible by 5 and 8? Then they actually go right in the middle section, because that way they'll be in both circles. And if any number is not divisible at all by 5 or 8, then we just leave them outside of the circles. So let's try to do numbers divisible by 5 first. Alright, if we take a look at our list, remember the rule for 5. It has to end in a 5 or a 0 for it to be divisible by 5. So the numbers divisible by 5 in this case would be 35, so we're going to put that over here, 90, and 765. Now keeping in mind that these are the numbers that are only divisible by 5. There are some numbers here that end in a 0, and you might say, well, why wouldn't we put these numbers where they belong, divisible by 5? Because if you look carefully, they are also divisible by 8. So for example, if you look at the number 80, 80 ends in a 0, which means it's divisible by 5, but the rule for 8 is if 8 can divide into the last 3 digits, it works. Now for 80, we only have 2 digits, but we would just divide and check to see if it works, and 8 does go into 80 10 times. So this means that 80 needs to go in the middle because it works for 5 and for 8. The same thing happens with 3,960. Now, are there any numbers that are just divisible by 8? And the answer is yes. If we follow the rules for 8, we would discover 24 is just divisible by 8, but not by 5. 56, 128, and 1,048. So again, the left-hand side is divisible by 5, the middle is divisible by both, and the orange represents divisible only by 8, not by 5. Now there are a few numbers that are left over, and these numbers are not divisible by 5 and are not divisible by 8. They are not divisible by anything. We just leave these numbers outside the circles. Some examples of this would be the number 12, the number 1,482, and the number 15,019. This is how to use a Venn diagram. Again, a Venn diagram is a way to show information when it's either by itself or put together in the middle. If you have any questions, please ask. And there you go.